Hello, everyone. It's Dom and Nathan here with the Boomer and Zoomer Esports podcast, back again with our 5th episode in 2 years. That's quite some progress, isn't it, Nate?
And we shit at this. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we actually literally just speaking 2 minutes ago before we started this. 5 episodes in 2 years. My God, and we are useless. Because we ironically said this. If we go back, I can't say word for word what we said in the first episode, but we're like, we'll try to do these as often, clashing schedules. It's going to be tough. 5 in 2 years? What's that average out to? Like, not even once every. I can't do maths. My brain hurts.
It's almost once every half a year. Like, almost. If we hadn't recorded this one now, like December.
Yeah, we did like 2 quite close, didn't we?
Yeah.
Then a big gap. Then a big gap, and then the last one was at Insomnia, and now we're here to do this.
And I enjoyed the Insomnia one. And
That was
thank
really
you
good.
to everyone who enjoys these podcasts as well. It's a good laugh. I enjoy it. There's the age difference between Nathan and I, and that's increased. Well, it's not increased, but our ages obviously have increased. I'm 37 now. You're
22.
Yeah, okay, so I still dispute the whole boomer name.
Yeah, sure.
Boomer,
Technically, you're a millennial, but it just doesn't sound right. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
I'm an early millennial.
Yeah.
Because I did grow up through the millennium, but I was like, I would have been 14, 15 at the turn of the millennium. So, yeah.
Technically, I don't even know what Zoomer comes from. I'm Gen Z technically, but it doesn't sound good, does it? Boomer and Zoomer sounds good, So
it does sound good. That's it, Gen Z Zoomer. And for this podcast, shout out to AGON by AOC, who supported us recently for a UK Esports Christmas party we did, which was a lot of fun. I've done a bit of an experiment these past few months. I've organised a couple of events, and for this one, I teamed up with yourself, Nathan, of Sweet Cabin fame, and it was the busiest one yet. Everyone enjoyed it. It was at Platform Bar in London. We had a League of Legends Jungle Challenge, because obviously Riot have changed the jungle going into this 2023 season. And what was the fastest time Finlow got? I think it was 2:45, 2 minutes 45.
Was it 2:45 or was it 2:52? I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, it was fast, wasn't it? Yeah, it was fast.
It was very fast. Like Ivan
TP. Yeah, Ivan TP.
That's it, Ivan TP, yeah, which was pretty crazy. How did you find it, Nave? I know I can be a bit stressful to work with, and I've realised myself this year. I've been saying for ages, I want to get investment for Esports News UK, and again, I'm talking to a couple of people at the moment about that. But I'm like, I would love to get investment and have a team, but then at the other side, I feel like I'm a bit of a lone wolf in esports. I'll be honest, I don't think I'm a great team player. It's hard. I find being in a team hard.
Really difficult. And some may think that's quite weird to say, but it is tough when you can only relate to this, unfortunately, if you have your own business and your own baby, which you're reliant on, which you've pumped fucking years and years of effort and blood, sweat and tears into it, and then you think you know what's best. And I say think because you get into this little bit, every business owner does it, bit of a delusion of, oh, I know what's best and nobody else knows how to navigate this brand. Most of the time, you're probably right, genuinely. You probably know what's best. But there is a small percentage which we all fail towards. We fail towards that adaptation, and we can't, or we refuse to adapt and change to the current climate or to what's going on or to improving, let's say. And you only notice if it's pointed out towards you or after the situation. In the current moment, you are dead set on being right. Do you know what I mean? Truly.
Yeah.
And it's
stubborn.
Yeah, sure. But like it is stubbornness, I guess. But it's also, I guess it's stubbornness, but it's understandable to a degree, because one wrong decision you think could send into a tumble of unfortunate circumstances and then could lead to the end of your business. Do you know what I mean? So you're panicking for that. You're worried for your baby. You're worried for your literal babies that you have to feed at home and keep warm, and your family, right? Because that has a knock-on effect.
especially going into 2023.
Yes.
Because what has happened this past week, Nave, the
Right. Yeah.
economic climate at the moment. I mean, we'd been building up to this with the Russia war and other factors, the cost of living crisis, energy prices increasing. I've literally just done a story. I've broken minutes before going live, and cheers for waiting for me around this podcast. BMW is starting to pull out sponsorships of some of its esports teams and so on. You know, orgs are closing. X7 Esports, Lucent, Rick, some UK orgs. We've had Kawana Gaming. Okay, they're not the biggest organisations in the world, but orgs like this, for me, are really important. We need these mid-tier and lower tier and upper tier orgs. It's all but part of one big ecosystem. And, you know, I'm a bit worried for the future. Is this the time that the esports bubble bursts? You know, it's a cliched saying, or it shrinks a little bit. I'm not sure, but the you know, people are tightening up their purse strings a little bit going into 2023. And if ad, I was saying to you again before we hit record, if ad partnerships dip for, you know, ads on my site or events in the new year, I will have to look more at consultancy and look more at freelance work.
Yes.
But then giving consultancy to brands, they might have less of a budget for that now. You know, this optimism from investors in esports seems to have declined a lot.
Yeah, and on that, I don't want to switch topic quickly, but because this has been your first full year doing just EN UK, right?
Yes, you're right. Last year it was, I think it was like I switched around February, March time.
Yeah.
And I was learning a lot. So I've learned a hell of a lot in these 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's I've been doing Esports News UK 7 years, but 2 years of that, or just under, is full time.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot in those 2 years. The first 5 years was just, in a way, me mucking about.
Yeah,
way,
right.
You know, learning.
That I do find that, because with Sweet Cabin specifically, March 2021 now, I started it, so it's nearly coming up to 2 years. There is something about when money's on the line and there's actually something to lose, that everything's fast tracked. Do you know what I mean? Learning's fast tracked. You learn 10 times more. You probably learn more in the last 6 months than you have in the first 5 years of the company. Do you know what I mean? Easily, because there's a million more there's a million more on the line, really. And I find it fascinating because humans in general, we can miss the obvious, or we often miss the obvious, and it seems so clear in hindsight when you look back on it, but in the heat of the moment, and that's probably the biggest benefit, I think, of having a team, is more brains the better, is that
absolutely
you don't get trapped into this. What I find so helpful about, obviously, agency life at Hot Drop is that everyone's always on a different wavelength, thinking about different things. I can come on thinking from one certain angle, and somebody else is going to come from a totally different angle. So we've got the bases covered. Whereas Sweet Cabin, I'm so focused on one thing. Fucking so difficult to do another 20 things at once. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you get all the time. Every business owner gets it, by the way. When somebody goes up to you with a really obvious business idea that you haven't done yet, and they're like, "Oh, why are you not doing this?" And it's like, I mean, it's a great idea, but it's just me. That's why I haven't done it yet. Do you know what I mean? There's 10 things. Yeah, there's 10 things in front of that needs to come first. Do you know what I mean? Before I get to that point, unfortunately. But I do like hearing it, because it's like, oh, great idea. I've thought about it a million times. I just can't fucking do it. You know what I mean? I can't do it at the moment because it's not a priority.
I've learned one of the best, well, not best things, but one of the biggest learnings I've taken is when to say no as well. You know, I get people coming to me with ideas. Oh, Dom, you know, have you thought about doing this? You know, one of the things early on in my consultancy, I had people coming to me saying, Dom, can you intro us to these? And we have a setup where if you help us, you get a commission based on people you successfully intro, and then they take business from us. And it all sounds great.
Sure.
But doing that stuff is time consuming.
It is.
And, you know, you place a lot of trust in people. I know, yes, you know, you want to get contracts. I have contracts and things like that. But I don't want to become an agency, you know? I'm happy to help people with stuff, but most of my focus goes on articles.
Yeah.
And because I love covering esports and telling people stories and reporting the news and stuff like that. So that's been a tough balance to strike. You also get, as a business owner, you know, people coming to you, oh, we'll do this for you, and then can you do that for us? So what's sometimes known as contra deals, right? It's you know, Dom, and I'll give you an example of a good contra deal is, I sometimes do them, but I've had to say no to a lot.
Yeah.
Like, Esports Insider or other events like that will say, hey, do you want to do a media partnership? You get access to the event and you get your logo promoted when we do the event. And then in turn, you cover the event.
Yes.
And I don't mind doing that. But then I get some, I get obscure crypto events based abroad saying, oh, hey, do you want to do this deal? And we'll cover this and we'll cover that. And you come and report on it. And I have to say, well, it's not really relevant. And, you have to say no sometimes. It's tough, but it's one of those, I think I've been too nice in the past. And that's taken me a long time to learn to say no.
I think we're quite similar in that sense. I've got much better in 2022 with saying no to, and specifically understanding just your value and what you can give. Because Sweet Cabin was always, we've built quite a powerful brand now, and it maybe didn't hit for a while, but a good example is that we get a lot of people asking to do giveaways with us, and that's absolutely, like, we give you a bag of sweets. It's nothing if they're just going to post about it and it's a brand new audience we hit. That's amazing. But what we get often is like an expectation for us to retweet their giveaway. And what that instantly happens is if we retweet it, they get more benefit realistically than we would, because we have just shared it to 12,000 followers that they've never seen before. So they get all the followers, because always the mechanic is follow the two accounts involved, right? And ironically, I've purposely just don't retweet them. And we've had a few cases this year where someone's gone, oh, are you going to share it? And it's like, well, no, we've given you a free bag of sweets. That's our part done. You're hosting the giveaway. We don't have to retweet it at all. And maybe I should, maybe I don't. I don't know. I think in my argument, it's like, you should be paying for that if you want that benefit. Do you know what I mean? Because if I get you 100 new followers, well, that's not too shabby for you, is it? Do you know what I mean? In reality, and that's probably something that should be charged to some degree. But not to go on another tangent, should we talk about how we hosted the event? How we came about hosting the event?
Yeah, I mean,
it came about pretty quick, eh?
Yeah, I can't remember. I've always liked platform.
Yes, yeah, we loved it.
I was at, and I'd wanted to do my own events because I've been talking about, and I'll combine this with what you were saying earlier, Nathan, about it's important to have a team to bounce ideas off people. This is exactly why I've grown the Esports News UK Discord this year. One of the reasons. It's great. It's active now. I can chat in general. I can ask a question in general. Hey, has anyone seen, as BMW pulled from Esports Orgs? And I get a collective of readers and supporters of Esports News UK. And also, it's why I do my weekly streams on Twitch, because I get people, I know it's in text, but chatting to me, talking about things. Oh, Dom, have you seen this news? You might have missed this story. I love all of that stuff. And where am I going with this? I basically, I've been saying on my streams, Riot and other companies in the UK aren't organising a lot of events. We've got a bit of a lack of events. We've had the return of things like some big events like the League, Rocket League London Major earlier this year, Esports Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and a few other bits and pieces. We've got MSI next year, which I broke the other day. Really excited for that. I wanted to give some good news in these dark times. And so I've been saying, if Riot and the others don't host more events and meet up events, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Because we need them. And it came at a point where Nico at Platform Bar reached out to me. So I just did an experimental sort of Esports News UK 7th birthday event and my 37th, and had quite a good turnout. I don't know, I can't remember what it was now. 90, I think it was, that showed up. And about 110, 120 signed up. You're always going to get dropouts. When always do. Always do. So I did that event, and then which had like a 2v2 league challenge where I let you down.
It's okay, man.
I let you down. And then the second event was League of Legends World's Finals viewing party. And what I was amazed by that, Nath, is that I'd say about 80% of the people that turned up there didn't know Esports News UK. They just Googled World's Viewing Party in London. I came up, and so I got to, thanks to Riot, hand out some raffles and prizes. Got to talk to all those people and say, hey, here's who I am, here's Esports News UK. And they're like, oh, I didn't know we had a UK league.
Right,
UK league and all of this. And then the third one, you were talking to me at the time, Nave, like, why don't we do something together? And I thought, it'd be great to do an experiment, and like the numbers were amazing. I think with our combined reach with Sweet Cabin, you have more followers than Esports News. I'm coming up to 8K on Twitter now. A lot of my hits come through Google, though, so it's slightly different business thing. And that's kind of how it came about. I was already talking to Nico about potentially doing a Christmas party, so we thought, why not team up together? And it was great teaming up. Obviously, as I'm self-employed, it means we half everything. Yes. But I did the same thing with the UK Esports Awards a few years ago. I left that because I was getting stressed out. I had too much on. I'd love to see that come back. Blanks, who runs that now. We haven't had it for a couple of years. I'd like to see that come back. But yeah, long answer to your question, Nave. That was sort of basically it. And then when we got AGON by AOC on board, we had a partner to help make it happen and help pay for some of the drinks and the pizzas and stuff like that, and make it sustainable.
Went pretty well, hey? It went pretty well. It's Jesus, terrifying that it's not even less than 2 weeks away. Feels like years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the best received out of the 3 events I did. That was the best received.
Yeah, because I think we took, well, because I attended obviously your birthday party. So we took we took learnings from that. Also took learnings from, I guess, previous ESI events that I had helped to some degree back at my stint there. And then I think thirdly, we just, I guess, had discussions around, okay, the more trivial things, which seem trivial, but actually are not in the wider aspect. Like, okay, are we inviting people before? What's that window look like? Like, should they have enough time? Like, what's that? And, and I think overall it was pretty good. Like, I mean, what was the final number? Do you know?
Do you know what? That bit of paper is somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
It was. We kept, well, the max capacity was 135.
Yes.
And even when we had dropouts, we had a second list of people added to it. We had 135. But in terms of people who showed up, I think it was about 110.
Okay.
I need to check the list, but it was the busiest out of the 3 events I've done. And those other 2 events had like 90 people. So
it was good to see.
I want to say it was over 100.
Yeah, and I think it was amazing to run. There's something different about hosting them yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because basically everyone there.
So I was at another Christmas party the other week.
Yes,
And I was able to relax.
Yeah.
But I like organising events, and you do need help. I've said I like being a lone wolf, but also at all 3 events, I had help. I hired people, or had people to help at the door, help organise the tournaments.
Yes.
Grayscale helped with the production at the 2v2 of the first one. Obviously had your help in the third one. So you do need help. I think if I didn't have any outside help, I would go mad.
Yeah.
It would be even more stressful. But I knew, Nathan's handling the suites. There's a video guy handling video content. You have to sort of ensure everything's running smoothly. Deal with the random things that crop up. Problems.
I said this about events all the time. You cannot create or prepare. You can prepare as much as you can, as you want, but you can't prepare for what's going to happen on the night. Simple as that. You don't know what's going to happen. So no point worrying about it. It's about how you can react to the little fire, put it out quickly before it fucking engulfs everyone. And then if you do it right, nobody has a clue that anything occurred. Do you know what I mean? On the front face of it, they're just eating pizza, drinking prosecco, enjoying their night. They have no clue whilst you're running about like a lunatic. There is there's a stress attached to it, of course, but I like it because there's a purpose. I don't like going to events, ironically enough, where I'm not working. Do you know what I mean? I find them not boring, but it's like, okay, I can network and then what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? And I tell you what I do like, which is going to sound really bad from a networking point of view. I love not being tied down. When we're running the events, I can speak to someone for 15 minutes and then go, okay, sorry, I've got to go bounce to go fucking do my job. Do you know what I mean? And go run and help the event flow. But when you're not a host, you can't do that. Do you know what I mean? You can't have that escape of like, oh, this and that. And I find myself networking with 10 times more people because I'm not stuck down to, the conversations that turn into 30, 40-minute chats when reality it could just be a 15-minute.
What I do with that. And what I've found, Nath, and it's taken me a while, I always felt a bit awkward at networking things. At this party I was at the other week, I had a limited time limit because my last train, I had to get the train home and then drive
Yes,
from
yeah, yeah.
Essex back to Suffolk. So there was a few people I wanted to talk to that I'd see wandering around. I didn't get a chance to say hi to, and people tried to talk to me. I chatted to them for 5-10 minutes, then I said, "Oh, I've got to go soon.
You've got
I'd
to go,
really
yeah.
like to talk to blah blah." Obviously, you can use that as an excuse or do white
Yes.
lies, but I'm not personally comfortable doing, lying and stuff like that. So, but I genuinely was in a rush, and that was I then was able to say to someone,
Yes.
"Oh, I really want to say hi to Joe Blogs or whatever."
Spot on, yeah. Because it's not being. I don't want to see it like I'm trying to be rude. It's just I find it really difficult. Like I just like to be productive. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's tough. It's very easy just to get locked down into the person you're speaking to. It's because it's comfortable, and then you just hang around them for the whole evening. Do you know what I mean? And you don't actually meet anybody else, and you feel kind of like been a bit of a wasted evening, But when we're hosting, we're forced to be moving about at all times and saying hello to new people as they come in, right?
Yeah.
But
So there's a buzz to it as well.
There is, yeah, there really is.
People enjoy themselves. It's
Just
like,
going,
oh wow, I got
yes.
to.
Yeah, it is. No, I know what you mean. So overall, yeah, event I think went really well. We've got a few more deliverables, obviously, to deliver for our wonderful people at AGON by AOC, which we're going to wrap up in 2022, and then 2023. Who knows? Who knows what's going to go on?
Yeah, I'm very open, and I said let's have another chat, Nath, after we've done all the deliverables. I'm open. And also, all these free events have been a platform. I've had people saying, "Hey Dom, what about Manchester?" Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
I know. Same.
I like Pixel Bars. I've reached out to Craig at Pixel Bar. I'm going to be having different conversations and talking about different things. And if I can get a sponsor on board for these events or charge for tickets, and people are happy charging for tickets, that helps make it sustainable. Because times are tough, and when you're fully self-employed. Well, if I was still doing Esports News UK on the side, okay, I'd be more stressed out.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have to worry about sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's funny because
in a different way.
Yeah, not to go on another tangent, and we'll probably end this here. I was actually having a conversation with someone that I won't name just for sake, of like charging for events, and they basically said the biggest difficulty with charging is that the expectation changes. Do you know what I mean? It's when you pay money, the expectation goes from just a free event. I'll take anything. Anything's a benefit, so anything makes them happy. But when you charge, it's like there's a barrier. You need to suppress that before that.
It should include something like a drink or
something. Yeah.
You feel like you're getting a bit of value, and it is esports at the end of the day. We have to be mindful of.
Yeah, they don't spend fucking money.
In an industry where there is an expectation for a lot of free, at least content. Free content.
Right. Yeah. But overall, boom, we smashed it. Nice. What else should we talk about, mate? I guess.
Well, we were going to talk about this year, weren't we? And,
2022.
And then going into 2023, and I have a list of a bunch of things. Like I was alluded to a bit earlier, events coming back. I'm really happy. I enjoyed both Insomnias. I know the CSGO crowd didn't enjoy as much the first one because there were some tech problems. But, having everyone come together again was great. And the Rocket League London Major, gutted I couldn't make it, but I will definitely be at MSI next year. And I will hopefully, book a hotel and get a team together and do some really good League of Legends coverage.
MSI will be sick. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, 100%. I just hope Riot don't change their plans because I've heard, this is definitely happening from multiple trusted sources. So, but you never know. It hasn't been officially announced, but I'm hoping it sort of all comes together okay. I mean, the start of the year, Nath, I think set the precedent for esports trends this year. The Saudi money coming in and the buyout of the Saudi Arabian, I think it's the Public Investment Fund that owns Savvy Gaming Group, who are this investment vehicle that now own the ESL Faceit Group.
Yep. EFG.
And that's been a big trend because you've seen, they've tried to host more events out there. There's been a bit of pushback from the community around, particularly the LGBTQ plus community not feeling, comfortable going out to those places. We had a coach from Moist Esports, a UK coach. I've forgotten his name now. I can remember the player names, but I can't remember the coach's name. Who didn't want to go out there, and Moist pulled out. They didn't travel to this. I can't remember if it was a Gamers 8 event or some kind of. It was a Rocket League event, and I thought at that point, are we going to see a chain reaction of other orgs pulling out? We didn't. It was just them. We saw Team Liquid just the other day. That's right. It's an ongoing trend. Team Liquid put out a tweet the other day about their decisions. Oh, you know, we are, you know, taking part in tournaments and things like that where there's Saudi money, but or we do value, you know, diversity and all of this stuff. And a lot of people reacted pretty negatively, saying, well, some said, oh, at least you're talking about it, and others said, empty words, like actions speak louder than words.
Yeah,
so
fuck.
it's you're doomed if you say something, you're doomed if you don't say something. But this is a reality for esports now. It seems like a lot of money's coming from there. Same as football, you know, the Public Investment Fund also own Newcastle United.
They touch everything now, don't they? And you can't really get out of that grasp now. I do say you got to pick and choose your battles, though, of course. You know what I mean? Because truly, if you want to break it down to the minute detail, everything in your life is connected to it. Do you know what I mean? Everything is. The issue when I saw that Cloud9 statement too, and it kind of annoyed me because it's like, okay, if you're not,
it's Liquid, wasn't it?
Oh, so is it Liquid? Yeah,
I think it's Liquid,
I'll get mixed up every time. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, they are quite similar.
They're similar, yeah. Sorry, Liquid. So yeah, I saw that. There's two things. They made a donation. To be fair, they made a donation, which is always great. Which is always great to see. Because I always say, put your money where your mouth is. Don't just say something. Do you know what I mean? Because fucking, it's the biggest virtual signal that you could ever do. But if you're at least willing to make a donation, cool. The issue with people pulling out is that for it to work, it needs a collective. Everyone needs to do it. Do you know what I mean? And there's gonna be one that is not gonna do it because they're like, well, no. You guys lose out, we're just going to go win the tournament then. Do you know what I mean? See you later. We're going to keep our partners happy. You can take that risk and displease your partners and displease your investors for a weekend, but we're going to continue that. It needs a whole collective thing. It doesn't matter if one team drops out. It needs a whole collective for it actually to leave an impact, right?
And if they leave, where's the money coming from?
Yes.
The same goes for broadcast talent.
Yeah, I know.
I know some have said they're not working with ESL, face it, and you know, what happens if Blast and the others get investment?
Yeah.
What we're gonna do? What are you gonna do then?
It's real tough, man, isn't it?
Gets investment or whatever. You know,
it's really tough because we can compare it on many different levels. From an org point of view, we kind of tend to have less. What's the word I'm looking for? Sympathy, because they're a business, right? We can see it from a talent perspective without mentioning names. Let's say there's somebody from talent that has come out and shunned it, but now has a family to support. It's a different ball game. Do you know what I mean? You've got to understand that they've got their children and fucking family to feed. Like you have to sympathise with that. So I find it really difficult because how do you play the game there? Do you do it and call it out? Do you not talk about it and do it? Do you talk about it and shun it and don't do it? But
is it enough for some people to leave their professions? Because I know you're saying families, think of the families, or think of the families that were pushed out of their homes in that region by some of these whatever governments and powers that be, or people that lost their lives.
It's real tough, isn't it? It's real tough. It
is. I mean, this is what it comes down to. Like, this isn't maybe for some people it's a virtue signaling thing, but this is a case of life and death for some people. I mean, you look at the stadiums that were built out in Qatar, the World Cup, and there was deaths there. I mean, people forget. I remember hearing that story about the World Cup in Brazil.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had a lot of worker deaths in the stadiums as well. So you know, I'm not pointing the finger at one specific region.
It's terrifying because they have a grasp on the whole world. Well, they always have because of their natural resources, obviously. But now it's seeping into our personal industry that we all love. How do we respond to it? Because it's real difficult, mate. To put it in real terms, we cannot escape them. And power is really limited. We need a whole collective to make an impact. But is that going to scratch their fucking very, very deep pockets at all. Do you know what I mean?
Probably not. Yeah. It's I
Shit,
like
man.
what Monte Cristo said. I
Mm.
saw it in he did a podcast a while ago. I don't know if it was in Richard Lewis, someone else, but he said, or he tweeted or something saying
Yeah.
along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, I'm happy to get paid. I personally don't have a problem getting paid by Saudi money or whatever, but I'm being public about that. What he's got a problem with, or others have got a problem with, is people that have said they're not happy with it, but then have taken the money later on, kind of thing. I think people respect virtues and standpoints when people stick to them and don't flip flop.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair statement.
But and I'm generalising there as well.
No, yes,
and,
of course.
People will have different reasons, and people can change their mind about things as well. We've seen polarising things. I've also got on my list here the G2 Carlos thing that people keep talking about.
Fuck it, that was what a year it's been, mate. I forgot about that. Fuck me.
And I don't want to go on negative stuff because like I say, the return of events has been good.
Yes,
we've had things like, I've also got on the list here the more women's tournaments like VCT Game Changers.
That was crazy. Really, that was really cool.
This year, like the G2 women's team and so on. Hopefully more league women's tournaments come in as well. We had the Rising Stars thing. XL finally reached playoffs. But we do have positive stuff. But, the G2 Carlos thing was crazy. I saw he did a Twitter Spaces.
He did, yeah.
And he's some interesting comments, so I might go through that at some point.
That was today, yeah. That was today. And I heard some of the things he was saying and fucking hell, digging that hole even deeper, hey?
He tripled down, did he?
Yeah, tripled down. Yeah. Quadrupled down, maybe. Whatever the fifth version of that is.
Yeah, it's like what's that film where you go into the layers of a dream? Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, no.
Inception.
Yeah. Inception. You go into
it. It feels like, mate, if I wake up tomorrow and it's Jan 1st, 2022, I will not be surprised. Do you know what I mean? It's been a fucking mental year. It's been mental. What's going on? Do you know what I mean?
We're in a weird timeline, aren't we, Nathan?
Really fucking strange.
That Carlos thing, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm quite saddened by it, to be honest, because G2 Carlos, when he was at G2, was a very unique personality. He was up for Esports Personality of the Award at the Esports Awards, which just took place. He didn't win it, but I miss his humour, and that is part of G2 as well.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if they can retain that humour. It looks like they are at the moment. There's a Valorant video they put out the other day on their Twitter and things like that. But I missed the fact his personality is gone.
Yes.
But it really divided the industry, didn't it? Him being snapped with Andrew Tate.
Mm.
And he said in his Twitter Spaces, someone shared it, and then he thought, well, I'm going to address the elephant in the room and just tweet about it. Tweeted it out, and then said, I draw the line. No one can police my friendships.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of thing. And Andrew Tate obviously is a controversial figure. And, we had people sending videos of them cutting their G2 jerseys up and all of that. He had to go, really.
It was sad to see another, we lose another person to ego. That's all it was. Ego. Fucking stupid. He couldn't just bow down and say sorry. If he did that, we would not be having this conversation now. He would still be the CEO of G2. He couldn't do it. He couldn't say sorry.
He did say something, didn't he? He did say. I think he did.
No, it was an apology. The thing is, it was an apology.
He said that was a PR thing.
It was a PR thing because he changed his bio to laughing, taking the piss out of it. Changed his name. He was liking tweets that were basically confirming that it was a PR announcement. So it was a shame because I look at it from a perspective of, look, mate, you're a CEO. You've got hundreds of employees to care for. Fuck are you doing playing around with their careers? Do you know what I mean? That's not fair. That's not fair at all. And that's where I draw the line there. Because he pissed about there. And there was a potential chance if he continued that and truly set a big scar into the G2 brand, then people lose their jobs because of that now. Do you know what I mean? People lose their jobs because he's a fucking idiot and won't shut up on Twitter. Do you know what I mean?
That video shouldn't have been shared, right? I get what people want to do in their personal lives,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm friends with a controversial figure, I'll make sure a video doesn't go up. But then if you're in a party with hundreds of people, then I don't have controversial friends. So, yeah, but do you know what I mean? He should have kept that it blurred. The lines blurred between work and play.
Yes, because I think
And
ironically, I don't think that was actually the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue was that he doubled down and didn't back down from it, which is a fucking shame to see. Hey, but yeah, that happened. Feels like we've kind of got over it though, really quick. Do you know what I mean? Which I think was weird because he was clearly really impactful, and Carlos you saw him on your timeline every single day. Now he's gone. I don't feel like we've missed anything. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I don't.
He's still tweeting. He's just tweeting about other things. He was
just don't see it,
shooting a gun the other day, or in a Ferrari or whatever. And it's. I did a guest talk the other day at a university, and they're doing an assignment on this.
Fucking hell.
Doing assignments on this stuff. On how would you, if you were the PR manager of G2, how would you handle this situation?
Not even fucking.
That's a good assignment.
I mean, fuck yeah.
Debate. It gets you talking and thinking about. That's not easy for a PR manager to handle something like that.
I mean, yeah, I don't think even hand it to a PR company. I don't think they'd know how to fucking handle it. Do you know what I mean? Let alone student
management,
person.
Isn't it? At that point.
Yeah,
and
Christ.
G2 did their statement, but was it good enough?
It's difficult. It's real difficult. PR is something I don't think I could ever do. Do you know what I mean? I think I'll really struggle on PR.
I don't know, Nave. I think I mean, you've done some good. I mean, with your All Gradient back in the day, and with Sweet Cabin.
Thing is with PR,
you are kind of doing PR.
Yeah, thing is
you're
with
naturally doing it.
Sure, the thing is with PR when you do it for other brands though, is that you have to portray them in the light that isn't always truly authentic and honest, and I couldn't do that. I really couldn't do that. I couldn't go, oh, they've just something scummy's just happened, and then you have to position them in the light of oh, actually we're actually really.
I think I could do it if it was my job, but I would struggle a little bit, and this gives us a perfect lead.
I know where you're going. Here. I know where you're going.
Yeah, so I want to talk about two bright young journalists this year who.
Let's light a candle. Light a candle for them.
Yeah. I think they've had a really good impact in the few years they've been covering esports, and I'm going to miss them in journalism. And that's Adam Fitch and Meg Kay, who've both moved into PR this year. And I'm obviously happy for them that they're doing what they want to do, and it seems like Adam has a good balance. Of when you're a journalist, you're always I'm on social media a lot. I'm scrolling through. Maybe you don't need to do that so much when you're a PR. I don't know, but maybe a better work-life balance. But I'm personally going to miss their reports and their coverage, and that saddens me a little bit. But that is the way things are going, and I've seen it now, having worked in magazines and things like that the past, whatever it is, 15, 16 years in journalism. That's the way it's been going for ages. You get there's loads of PRs out there and loads of press releases, and the number of journalists and good journalists is sort of dwindling each year, and especially in a niche sort of field like esports. Right. I've seen loads of leakers type journalists now. Yeah. I Blix. I mentioned Blix here. Obviously, I respect other publications and so on, but that's not personally my style of reporting. The Wooloo thing has worked very well for him. He's got whatever it is, 200,000 followers. But when you put a tweet out that is just one line, I think context is so important. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'm biased, and over the years I've got used to writing articles and writing magazine articles.
Yes.
But context is important. So I'm a little bit dismayed about the future of esports journalism, but I still think we do have a lot of good reporters, and in games journalism in general, we have a lot of good reporters as well.
Yeah.
Jacob Wolf, he's sort of gone from esports to general gaming now. And
Jake Tucker is always one of my favourites too. I like Jake. I like Jake a lot.
There's some great writers
They are, man. They're really good, really fucking good. Something
But
I
I'm
could
going to
do.
personally miss those two because I enjoyed reading their stuff. So yeah, that was a little shout out. No,
No,
sorry, I'm
yeah,
meandering and I'm talking at you a lot.
no, yeah, it's all good, mate. Yeah, a special shout out to Adam, of course, because fuck, I'm so happy that he's happy. Do you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah, same.
so happy that he's finally found that he's really content with his life, and there's
Yeah,
it's for many different reasons, of course, but career is a big thing because takes the most amount of time of your life and your day, so better be fucking good. You better enjoy it, and he does now. I spoke to him. I'm sure you won't mind me saying this too. I spoke to him how his first day was at the new company, and he was like, "I'm absolutely exhausted, mate." And I was like, "Oh, really? Is that because?" And we spoke about it, and it's because mental strain is much more tiring than physical strain. Do you know what I mean? But it was in the good way, in that he was learning so much that he was just knackered. He was absolutely shattered. He picked so much new shit up that he was like, "Oh man, I'm fucking tired." And to get that when you've had maybe a not super fulfilling, 11 months in esports, it must feel really good. So he's really happy, bless him. And that makes me really happy because he truly deserves that. And he's a good friend. He's a good friend of mine. Sad to see him go, but if that means he's happy with his life, then make that decision a million times over. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and he's still doing the cyber athletics.
Yeah,
Shout
there are
out to
competitors. There are
cyber
competitors, really, aren't they? Maybe we need to
Are
do like
they?
a.
Are we
We need,
rivals? Are we?
yeah, we're rivals. We're rivals. We can't be shouting out. I'm gonna bleep that out in the edit. I gotta bleep that
Should we
out.
do a thumbnail that's like
Yeah, we do. We
Zuma
need.
and Zuma
Yeah, we
versus
need to
cyber
do.
athletics?
Yeah, we should do a collaboration one day where it's all four of us. Maybe
I'd
four
love it.
people's too much to speak, but it would be cool, wouldn't it?
We were talking in the past. I think Fitchy said something about you could, or one of us did. Boomer, Zoomer, and Doomer.
Tuma, yeah, I remember this.
Doomer. I don't know what Billy would be. We'll have to think of that. But
What could we
yeah,
name him?
lurker.
The lurker. Yeah.
He's not a lurker though.
He's
But
not a
yeah,
lurker.
we need something. Do we need something that rhymes? I don't know.
We need something, don't we? Yeah. But no, yeah. It's good to see him happy. Okay. Because we're just like, I guess, closing into wrapping it up. I'm gonna throw in a question. What's the biggest lesson you've learnt this year, Dom? I've asked that question. I have no idea what my answer is. I'll be honest.
That is a good question. The biggest lesson I've learned this year. I will say, I mean, I've probably said this before, but I have learned more this year how to switch off and also the benefits of that. So I'll give you an example. Last week, I was chaotic sorting Christmas stuff. I had my 6-year-old's Christmas play on the Friday. So I had literally 20 minutes last Friday to do work. I jumped on, did a quick press release, did the Intel Future Gen NSC thing. Shout out to NSC. That was it. So I left all my emails Friday. Wasn't able to check them. Saturday, I had my son's birthday party bowling, which was chaos. It was like 15
Chaos.
bowling there. I've got years of it, mate. What have I done? I've got 3 kids, so I'm joking. But what it made me realise was when I got home that night, I did catch up on emails. I was catching up from like once the kids had gone to bed. It was like, I don't know, 10 p.m. till like 1 in the morning, catching up on stuff. And then Sunday, I chilled out as well and didn't work much. But then Monday, I had it in my head, right, I'm going to break the MSI story.
Yes.
But because I came back, I had, a good few days break from work. When I came back on the Monday, I felt like I was kind of on fire on Monday. The MSI thing, I was doing like a few other stories. My tweets I was just switched on. Like at the moment, the last 2-3 days, I haven't had much sleep. I'm trying to get loads of stuff done before I go for a break.
Yes.
And you do notice it, and then it's that whole consuming too much versus creating. So there's this idea, isn't there? Try and create more than you consume.
Right. Yeah.
When I'm flagging and I'm tired, I doom scroll.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't.
It's absolute time waste. Yeah. Absolute time waste. Yeah.
Monday was the opposite. I was switched on. I had a good sleep. I had a good break. I was creating loads. I was consuming a little bit, but the quality of my output of creating was a lot better than it would be today and yesterday, for example. So long answer to your question, Nate. So important to have downtime.
Yes.
I've learned it doesn't matter if I miss a few stories. It doesn't matter. Obviously, I try and hit certain impressions each month, but you know, if I don't have an ad partner on the site that month, it matters even less. You know,
Yeah,
to get the balance right.
I think what I take away from that is that I find it's all momentum. It's all momentum. If you have a good morning, leads into a productive afternoon, leads into productive evening.
Yeah.
If there's something that falters in that point, it can kind of send the day in a spiral when it's kind of over. But it's okay to go, well, today's fucked. On to tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Today is fucked. And that's absolutely fine. I've got better at that. It's just once it happens in a couple of days in a row, you're like, okay, I actually do need to get in fucking track here. And how do I do that? Is that go to bed earlier tonight? Do I need to set a plan for tomorrow and lay things out? What does that look like, right? But that's interesting. I think I've got still a lot to improve in that area of like space and time and separating that. I'm still trying to think on mine. I have one, but it's really difficult to word, and I do have to shout out Kiernan to this. So Kiernan joined us a month after me when I joined. So that's Ex-Scoundrel. Yeah, that's Ex-Scoundrel for context.
Kiernan Lowe. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Kiernan has, I guess, taught me this year, and this is something I think I was aware of but didn't action, of like, what value am I adding when I'm creating this Twitter, let's call it drama for a sense, because this came from specifically from one post, and before this I always used to do this of, okay, there was somebody from a UK based organization in esports, which they'd posted a LinkedIn post. Someone very high up in the company posted a LinkedIn post basically like shitting on social media managers. Took a screenshot of that and I tweeted it and was like, this and that. Yeah, what a fucking... I think I put like the clown emoji on or something like that, right? Because I was angry and I thought I was fighting the good cause. Do you know what I mean? Fighting the good cause for the social media managers, making sure they feel blah, blah, blah. And it gets likes. It always does. It always gets engagements, right? And Kiernan spoke to me about it. He was like, how do you think you're positioning it like that? Because do you think that's valuable? Do you think the individual that sees that, because they saw it in the end, and the brand, do you think they're going to be happy? And do you think they're going to change? No, they're going to be pissed off. They're going to never speak to you and never do business with you. Do you know what I mean? And that affects Sweet Cow indirectly. Of course, it affects Hot Drop too, but to make it more personal to me, it was like it could affect Sweet Cabin. And then secondly, like, what's the actual value add there? What are the social media managers taking away from that? Fucking nothing. There's no lesson of that. It's just, yeah, fuck that guy, I hate him too because he's, yeah, I'm gonna like this and retweet this. Fuck that guy too. There's no win. There's no win. I get some engagements for it. I feel proud that I've done a job, but I actually haven't done anything in necessity. So that's what I took from that, and I've actively throughout the year. Sure, it's led to a pretty steep decline in my growth on socials, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me as long as I know I'm adding value each time I post. I'm not saying every time I post it's a value add, because I post some shit, mate. But I've moved away from this angry, reactive mindset of like, oh, how dare they do that? I'm going to show them, to there's a different way to approach this where I can teach them. I can show them a different angle. I can inform them and be informative about it all, instead of being that angry, trying to be that protector when there's no need for it. So I don't know how to word that, but that's what I've learned this year, is be more productive with my words, and make sure they actually hold value and some sentiment, rather than just doing it to do it and get them wonderful engagements that we all love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
that's really important.
It is, and I credit Kiernan to that, because that conversation was eye-opening to me. Because I wouldn't say I'm a stubborn person, but I can, when I'm reactive and angry, and there's been many cases since where I've seen a tweet and I've messaged Kiernan thinking, I want to absolutely bite this person's head off on socials, but then me sending it to Kiernan is kind of like the venting already done, so I don't feel like I need to tweet it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what it is. It's a vent. It's an angry post, and you should never post when emotions are involved, realistically. So yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I've learned.
And actually, how that reactive, angry approach, I think a lot of people in esports, I don't want to tar everyone with the same brush,
Mm.
but from what I've seen over the years, there are some people in esports that do react angry, and that becomes the norm. It is good to take a step back sometimes. It doesn't mean change your opinion.
Yes, no,
You're
absolutely
just
not.
changing your approach a little bit,
Mhm.
and you're being a bit more mindful of the person you're about to rip into. Like, and I've had similar things with opinion pieces I've written, articles I've written. I've learned as well to how you come across, but then it's difficult because I do want to try and have an integrity and stand up for, but that's slightly different, right? Doing it on a journalism
Yes, yeah.
basis rather than someone's personal view. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. I did want to ask about New Year's resolutions as well, Nate. If you have any.
I've got a
Or if you
personal
have
one. Yeah, I've got a personal one. It's just work out more, eat more, and gain weight, and be more
Yeah.
comfortable with like, I guess my body. Because I've been, again, it's a bad time to talk about it now, but I've put on a lot of weight this year, which is really good, and I've been going to the gym often. I've just had come off a week illness, which means I haven't been to the gym in a week, and I've lost. It's only a kilogram, but it's a kilogram behind, which is fucking tough to put on a kilogram. Let me tell you that. So I've lost. Oh God, I've lost it, which sucks because I feel like I've been put back because my goal was end of the year. So I'm now having to fast track it. I'm still ill today. I'm hoping tomorrow it's finishes. So I'm going to be back tomorrow and every single day until Christmas, basically. So yeah, I think that would be my my generic one would just be work out more, gain more weight, and feel more confident within myself, I guess. And then secondly would be take Sweet Cabin to a step up. I'm not saying my family will be able to retire and do it yet, but I do want I want to be able to rent a space next year in the first quarter. I want to be able to increase the amount of product we're selling and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's my two. What about yourself?
I haven't really thought about it yet, Nath. I think something I've struggled with the past 2 years. I love reading, and I don't really get much time. I mean, most of my reading is done online.
Yeah.
Social media and news websites and all of that, and Reddit. But I love reading books as well, and I've really struggled to read like the fiction and the books that I've wanted to read over the past 2 years. It's been abysmal. Like even like this League of Legends book that came out. It came out like I don't know when it was, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
That's been my book I've been reading the past 2 or 3 months, and I'm only like 2/3 of the way through. I enjoy it every time I read it, but I don't get the time. So I'm looking forward to this little break I've got coming up now. I want to get through more books and do more stuff with my kids as well. So like they're getting to an age now where they're growing up a bit more. I know I have two 3-year-old twins, and then I have a 6-year-old. But my 6-year-old, he's getting to an age where you can do more things with him.
Yeah.
Like he wants to. There's several instruments he wants to learn. He plays drums a little bit, has a ukulele, but he wants to learn guitar properly. And it's like I want to do things like fun things like record songs with him and all of that, and I haven't got round to doing it yet. It's one of those things.
That's nice.
So those are a couple of little resolutions, but I'll probably think of other ones. I think keeping fit again. I don't do enough fitness. I do like badminton once a week. I walk. I've stopped jogging. I need to just jog again. I've given up on. I'm quite a slim person.
Yeah.
I think I'd struggle putting on weight. I'm not really a gym goer, but I'm a cardio person, so I need to get back on that. But it's important to have, I think, a resolution.
It is, yeah. Set a
I
goal.
hope people watching this get some ideas.
Yeah, and then January is always like, is it veganuary they call it now, and then dry January and stuff like that too. So it's no alcohol. Yeah, I mean the gym's not going to be fun going back in Jan because there's always fucking a mass amount of people that go in Jan. Then it just drops off every month after, which is funny. Hey.
The other thing I want to talk about very quickly, yes, we have New Year's resolutions, but there's something I learned about half a year ago, this idea of anti-goals, which I love. So if you do a New Year's resolution of like read 2 books a month, don't do it to the point where you're stifling other part of your life and it's annoying you. So like, when I've read about anti-goals the first time, it was like, say you want to be a successful musician, right? Your goal is, I don't know, get a chart-selling album or be a musician full-time. But as a result of being that musician, what if you lose some friends, have to move country, I don't know, pick up a alcohol addiction or whatever, right? You're not sleeping well. Anti-goals are there to stop those things from happening. So like, okay, I want to be a successful musician, but I'm going to limit my alcohol intake or whatever, or drug intake, and I'm vowing not to do this, that, and the other. Those are anti-goals. And for me, with my site, you know, I need to hit a certain amount of revenues a month. I want to do a certain amount of impressions, but switch off in the evenings.
Yes.
And all of this, go to bed early, spend time with my kids. Those anti-goals help you get the balance right, so that you don't go, oh yeah, I've got the goal of being a successful whatever.
At what cost? Yeah.
But my personal life has gone to shit.
Yes, yeah.
What use is hitting those work goals if you're not happy with other things going on in your life? So that's something to be... I'm not a life guru at all.
No, I like that.
That personally helped me.
I like that. You can't have something without... not to be negative Nancy, but I'm a big believer in you can't have something without losing something else. Do you know what I mean? There's a balance to it, though, I think.
Everything in moderation. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Look at that. Well, we're just under an hour, so we'll cut it off there. But yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed it. It's our 5th episode. My God, 5
we need
episodes.
To do, even if it's once a month.
We say this every time. We say this every time.
It's an hour a month.
No,
everyone's got an hour a month, and I enjoy doing these podcasts, talking to you, and I know a few other people out there enjoy watching them as well. So thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Look after yourself. Have a good Christmas, because this will go out before. And a Happy New Year too. And then, yeah, we'll see you in 2023 for, fingers crossed, a good year. We fucking deserve a good year after the past 2.5 years we've had. Jesus Christ, give us a break, please. Lord Jesus Christ. And hopefully we have a good 2023 and we smash it. So, yeah, have a good one, guys, and look after yourself.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to say. Enjoy your break, everyone, and good health to you all as well. Bye.
Bye.